Hello. Alrighty. So we are live again. Hello, my name is Erlend Bakke. I'm the best-selling author of a book called Never Work Again and a book called 90 Days to Profit, which is meant to be there, but it's fallen down. There we go. 90 Days to Profit. That's why it wasn't there. Um, I have a special book technique here where you fold it in, and then you place your book like that. Should be able to stand there. Okay, so today it's all about how to fund your business, and I'm a self-funded entrepreneur. I've never raised capital, and there are several different ways and things to think about when it comes to getting funding for your business. So first of all, if you're a new entrepreneur, then it's really good to have some kind of traction. Do you have maybe some orders? Do you have some kind of proof that your business model works? And I don't really believe there's an easy way. A lot of the famous entrepreneurs that you see in the newspapers, like the founder of Snapchat, has actually been raised in an entrepreneurial environment, has been connected with very highly influential people in Silicon Valley community before he started Snapchat. He had access to funds, people, money. Funds and money is the same, but he had access to all these things before he got started. So he's 25 or what he is now, but he had access to all these things. So you got to ask yourself, where are you starting from as an entrepreneur? Where are you starting from? Now, having less capital than other people can actually be an extremely good thing, because that means you have to be more clever about how you spend the money that you have. You have to be coming up with more efficient solutions. You have to think more creatively, more out of the box. So starting with very little money is actually a very, very healthy thing to do. We see some companies that start with a lot of money, millions and millions of dollars, and they fail. And I mean, having lots of money is no rule for success. So I started with $10,000 about 9 years ago, and I just did what I could with that money. And from that, I've sort of grown 3 companies that are now making much more money than that. So you got to ask yourself every single day, like, what can you do to make something happen? What is the one thing you can do today to make the right connections or get access to some kind of capital? So you always have friends, fools, and family. Basically, do you have a brother or a sister or a parent that can lend you some money? And I think one thing that's really important is that when you borrow money from friends, fools, and family, is that you say to them that, let's say you borrow them, then of course you have to pay back. But if they invest in your business, you need to be honest with them and say you might lose their money, and they have to be okay with that. So they need to be aware of the high risk environment of investing in a new business or unproven business model. So that's obviously the first choice, and I highly recommend that you try to build up as much traction as possible before you go to any sorts of investor. Even though you have traction in your business, it is not likely that you will get investment. I had an investor meeting yesterday with a high-profile Norwegian investor. He's just got a new fund. He said they had 1,000 applications for 12 places. So 1,000 people applied. They had to go through a very severe due diligence process, and then they only chose 12 companies. So raising funding and doing that is challenging. Obviously, if you have a track record, if you've started companies before, if started and sold, it's easier, but it's no guarantee either. So the best thing you can do is to think about not relying on it. So for most entrepreneurs, they will never be able to raise any funding, and it is a challenging process. The good thing with the process is that it really challenges your business model. You really have to think about return. You really have to ask yourself a lot of questions that are important in terms of your own return on your investment, your time, and your money. So it is a healthy process to to actually go and see and test if you can raise money at all. That's why a lot of people go on Shark Tank, where they can test and see if they get investment. They of course also get exposure to a larger audience. So raising funds for your business, start with whatever you have yourself and your co-founders. And about co-founders, if you're bringing in co-founders, I highly recommend having a team in your business, especially if you're going to seek investment. They need to see the team. If you're self-funding it, it can be challenging to have a team from the early beginning. But one thing is, even if it's a minority shareholding that you're selling to somebody, I always recommend to sell the shares, because there's a very different buy-in. Most people just go to you and say, oh, they're interested in whatever you have, and then they want a good salary and they want a big share of your business. And I always just turn them down, because you can have a decent salary, but you have to put some skin in the game yourself. You have to actually put some money in, and then you can take that as a salary, at least in the beginning. Business partnerships are a challenge. You need to spend a lot of time really thinking about whether this is a person that you want to go to war with. Is this a person that would take a bullet for you? Can you trust them? When it comes to sort of money, people change. That's why I'm saying always get the people to invest in your business. If you're going to be a co-partner, co-founder even. So definitely you need to attract great people to your business. The question always is, if you don't have money, how do you kind of get people to work for you? Well, there's lots of different ways of doing that. The most important thing is to be an inspirational person, to treat people well. Again, I'm going on and on about how to win friends and influence people, but you need to be that kind of person that really makes people feel important and happy. Then people will do the most crazy things for you for free. So you can have students work for you for free. And there's often government programs where you can get people to come in for free and work for you. The government will actually pay them. So internships and free labor is available to you if you're a little bit creative. And then what I usually do is I actually have people on a freelance basis. So kind of like a revenue share or a licensing deal. Because in Norway, the rules and regulations are very strict. It's very difficult to fire people. So I actually try to avoid hiring people in Norway. So it depends on the country you're in. But let's get back to funding your business. So it's really about being scrappy, being innovative. Instead of printing fancy flyers, which cost maybe $200, just print them on your own computer. There's a lot of legwork you can do yourself, and make the most of what you have in the beginning. In terms of sort of mortgaging your house and putting your entire future into the business, I would be very, very careful with that. I think it's really important as an entrepreneur that you have a safety net. It's your life after all. It's important to have a safe place to live. It's important to have some stability in your life if you're going to go out there and build a business. Building a business is very challenging. There's a lot of rejection. There's a lot of things that go against you, and you have to have some stability, have some support, have some comfort, and sort of engineer that into your life so that you don't burn the candle on both ends. So that's very important. And in terms of angels and venture capitalists, so basically angels are more gentle. They're more into. They're probably an entrepreneur themselves. They've probably got a genuine interest in your business and what your business does, and they have that insight. So they kind of know what to do. So they feel confident that they can build a good business with you. Venture capitalists are interested in a massive return. And if you don't deliver on that return, they'll likely do whatever they need to do to get their way. So venture capitalists, angels, very different types of people. there's lots of different accelerators. There's lots of different things going on, and there's a lot of competition. So it's great to be part of those things. It's great for the community aspect and the networking aspect. Um, I've been part of a few of those. I've gotten to know a lot of cool people. I've learned a lot. Were they the most incremental things in terms of growing my business? No. I think the most incremental thing is like getting on board great people and getting them to focus on specific essential things to build a business, and that kind of gives a great return. So in relation to the collaboration of people, and business is really about the people you work with and the people that are in your ecosystem. So when you have a business, it's really an ecosystem. Even if you have investors and co-founders, all those people should be collaborating and working together. So be aware of toxic people. Take your time to think about whether these are people that you actually want to have to deal with in a stressful environment. And I think it's a good idea to be largely self-funded. It depends what you want in life. If you want a lot of freedom, so I wrote in Never Work Again, I wrote a lot about how I built my business around systems and other people doing things in the system, which basically gave me the freedom to travel the world and live what I call the freedom lifestyle. So if you want to learn about that, you can read this book. So talking about ecosystems, it's highly toxic to have a toxic person in the business. If you do, then get rid of them. And the same goes for investors. So take your time, ask people. You get a general gut feeling for people, and don't let money guide you too much. Money can make you blind, and things can seem really shiny and really awesome, but don't sign anything until you are certain that this is going to be someone and something that's really going to work for you. So be honest with yourself, trust your gut, and there is a way to make things happen. You know, the thing you start with isn't necessarily the thing you will end up doing. What makes money isn't always the thing that you thought would make money, and you find these things out as you go along. On your path, but you can do a lot with just your creative imagination and the ability to sort of get up and reach out and most of all inspire other people with what you're doing. Make people feel that is something that's important to them, and try to serve their needs when you're out talking about your business, and listen. A lot of entrepreneurs don't listen. It's really important that you actually listen to what people have to say. It doesn't mean that they always are right. It just means that there's a lot of clues out there that you can learn from. So I'm going to cut this. I'm actually going to a really important meeting right now. We're launching a new platform for one of my companies, and this is the first show of the platform. So if you want to learn more about me, you can check out Never Work Again. This is difficult to do. Never Work Again. And you can also check out Hardcore MBA on this YouTube channel or on iTunes or Sketcher. If you like this video, please watch another one. If you find it helpful, then hit like or comment below. Really appreciate you watching. Thank you, and I'll see you on the next one.